really starting to wonder what I got myself into here. Oh, thank you.
This regular meeting of the Minnehaha County Board of Adjustment, and I'll begin with a few introductory comments. Make sure that all cell phones are turned off. The Planning Commission convenes as a zoning board of adjustment to consider variance applications and administrative appeals. For these items, we will follow our normal hearing procedure by requesting the planning staff to present a report on each item and then request the petitioner to come to the podium, make a statement, or answer any questions for us. Anyone from the audience wishing to speak or address the item shall be recognized, and they can move to the podium as well. State your name and address for the record. And then we will discuss the matter and take appropriate action. And first on the agenda is also public input. If there's anyone who wishes to speak to anything on an item that is not on the agenda, I will allow 5 minutes for each person who wishes to speak. Scott?
So, Madam Chairman, in addition to the public input, there's one item of bookkeeping that we need to do, and that is item number 4. The applicant has withdrawn their request for an appeal. So I would ask that you acknowledge the applicant's withdrawal of item number 4 with a motion and take a vote on it. And then if anyone is here for that item, they are more than welcome to speak under items from the public. They have that 5-minute access to tell you what their thoughts are. So I'd ask for your consideration on acknowledging the withdrawal of item number 4.
Commissioners, I need a petition, or I need a motion for the withdrawal of item number 4.
I'll move we withdraw item number 4.
Second.
Okay, a motion's made and seconded to withdraw item number 4 from the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And now, anyone for the public?
Okay, if there's anyone here from the public that wishes to speak on item number 4, or any item, you are allowed 5 minutes to address the commission. Okay, we'll move on. The first item is item number 1. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the January 22nd
So
and
moved.
June 25th?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2, Scott?
Item number 2 is a variance request 1803. This is to reduce this setback from a property line from 50 feet to 25 feet. The property is located in Section 34, Township 104 North, Range 48 West. The petitioner is Anthony Simmonsma, and this is approximately 5 miles northwest of Garrettson. The request would reduce the CAFO setback from 25 feet from a property line to from 50 feet to 25 feet. The applicant is requesting this variance. As I indicated, the zoning ordinance requires animal confinement buildings to be located 50 feet from a property line. The intent of this recently adopted requirement was to ensure that neighbors wouldn't be placed next to an animal confinement building as little as 7 feet away from a property line. In this situation, it's a family-owned property, and future subdivision of this site will occur. When the property is platted, the setback is not going to be able to be met, and the family is attempting to concentrate the animal feeding in a particular area, so they're asking for a reduction in that setback. I did visit the site, and it's generally very agricultural in nature. There is an existing animal confinement structure and a feedlot to the south and west of the proposed site where the new confinement building is to be constructed. The property does have access off a county highway, as you can see on the map. There are a number of criteria that we look at to make sure, to see if there is a reason to grant the variance. Number 1, are there specific circumstances or conditions, such as narrowness, topography, or the siting of the property? In this case, there is a Magellan gas pipeline which dissects the property, and that's shown on the site plan. The applicant must meet a certain distance off that established easement for the pipeline. This means either moving the building several hundred feet to the north or closer to the existing structure. The existing pipeline would constitute a specific condition for consideration. Number two, number two to consider is that does the variance grant a use which is not excluded in that particular district, or does it diminish or impair the property values in the area? The proposed use is similar to other uses in the area, and it should not diminish or impair the property values of the area. Number three, are there specific circumstances or existing conditions which, upon strict application of the zoning ordinance, would constitute an unwarranted hardship? As I indicated, requiring the proposed animal confinement building to meet the setback would be a hardship because it would require it to be moved quite a ways to the north because of that existing pipeline. And in addition, grouping them together would be better for the road infrastructure and be less road for them to construct. Number four, is granting the variance contrary to the public interest, and is it in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance? The proposed reduction of the minimum setback is not contrary to the public interest, and I believe it is in harmony with the general development pattern of the agricultural uses in the area. And lastly, number five, because of specific conditions or circumstances, there's no possibility that the property can be developed in strict conformity with the provisions of the zoning ordinance, zoning regulations, and that the authorization of the variance is therefore necessary to enable reasonable use of the property. The variance is necessary because it does enable reasonable use of the property. Strict conformance to the zoning ordinance would pose an undue hardship on the property owner, as the location of the existing pipeline would require the property owner to use more land to construct the building. The proposed addition and the proposed setback and subsequent need for the reduced setback does not harm the public. Therefore, staff finds that the reduced setback is in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance, and we recommend approval of the variance to reduce the setback for an animal confinement building from a property line from 50 feet to 25 feet. And I'll show you generally some pictures that I took. So this shows you the existing property line, or this shows you the proposed building, and it also shows you the location of that pipeline, I think, which is really key in this situation because of the ability the requirement for him to stay away from that with any buildings or any structures. This once again shows generally the location of the building, and let me back up here. So between that red building and that existing building, it's only 50 feet, and that's what he was requesting the variance for. That will be eventually platted into a separate lot. So this shows generally where that building is going to go, and it's going to be sort of on the north side of this building here. There is an existing animal confinement building. I think it was hogs, my recollection. There's also, this is next door to the west. There's a small, I wouldn't even call it a feed lot. It's pretty small, just some cattle. So that's generally the area. So I'd be glad to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Scott? Thanks, Scott. Is the petitioner here? Will you please come forward, state your name and address, please?
It's Tony Simmonsma, 24954 477th Avenue, Garrettson, South Dakota, 57030.
No comments.
Any questions?
Any comments, or you have any questions for him?
Tony, I think you've done your homework, and you've thought this out and placed the buildings where they need to be in the setback is fine with me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak for this, either a proponent or an opponent? Okay, I'll close the floor. Commissioners?
Madam Chair, I think anytime there's a pipeline in there, they've already kind of encumbered the property owner with a heavy burden, and I certainly support this. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. A motion's made and seconded to approve variance number 1803. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 3, variance 18-04. Scott?
This is a variance request, 1804, to reduce the minimum lot size on a parcel from 1 acre to .38 acres. The property is located in Section 7, Township 103 North, Range 47 West. This is approximately 2 miles southeast of Garrettson. The owner is the Minnehaha Community Water Corporation, and they have an existing lot there, and they are wanting to purchase some additional land because they will be they're planning for a booster station to be constructed on to service a hog confinement CAFO that we recently approved nearby. And so I inspected the site. Basically, it's there's an existing water tower there. And once again, we look at those 5 criteria, and I'll just briefly give you a synopsis that many times when we deal with public utilities, we grant these variances. We've done them for Lewis and Clark on off of Highway 42 for West Acres. We've done them for last year for the city of Brandon. So it's not unusual for us to grant these variances, and it really is in the public's best interest that we not use up additional farmland and we keep it into ag production. So with that being said, we're recommending approval. What they're really doing, and I'll show you just a quick diagram here. Oh, let's back up. So basically what they're doing is they've acquired a 25-foot strip on the north side of this existing lot in which this booster station or this booster facility is going to be partially located upon. So they are going to be enlarging the existing water tower lot, but it still will be less than an acre when they're all said and done. And it's located at the corner, and you can see right now there's corn all the way around it. They're purchasing the north 25 feet of that corn, basically. So I'd be glad to answer your questions. We're recommending approval.
Any questions for Scott?
Are they
Jeff?
going to wait until they harvest that corn before they build it?
Maybe. I don't know what their plans are. It's going pretty fast. It should be done soon.
Petitioner here, will you please come forward, state your name and address, please?
My name is Scott Buss, Executive Director of Minnehaha Community Water, Del Rapids, South Dakota. As Scott mentioned, we're adding a booster station to address the pressure concerns in the area and increase the flow to the hog confinement that was recently cited on the Minnesota border. And we purchased a 25 feet strip on the north side so that we can maintain the proper setbacks and not take any more ag land out of production than we needed to. So I'm here to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions for him? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody in the audience want to speak to this item? Close the floor. Commissioners?
Madam Chair, I guess my only comment on this, knowing, like Mr. Barr said, that this is, for the betterment of the whole community, and we're really not setting a precedent for a residential lot or a commercial use. I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion's made and seconded to approve variance -1804. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. There is no old business, no new business.
Move for adjournment.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Now we go to our 4th meeting.
record.
She's keeping her job.